the concrete jungle, nowhere to hide. On every corner, Big Brother's eyes. Hear the sound of war all through the streets. See the face of fear on everyone you meet. They come on the streets, they speak their lies. We are the people, they won't take us alive.
Good evening and welcome to Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles. It is February 15th, 2023, Wednesday. And let me tell you, folks, this isn't going to be one of my usual streams. For one, I don't have any whiskey to drink tonight. I mean, let me rephrase that. I have a lot of whiskey here at the house, but tonight I'm kind of doing some coffee chain lemonade because it's been a rough day, and I'm not trying to go to work tomorrow hungover because, quite frankly, like my workplace. So, without doxing myself, I live kind of near the Kansas City area. I don't live in Kansas City, but I live near the Kansas City area. And, our local football team won the Super Bowl. And there was a huge frickin' parade today. And a lot of my coworkers just didn't show up for work. So I'm like half exhausted. So here we are. We're here doing this with you tonight. I've got a little gauntlet of topics to talk about. Nothing too deep. Because quite frankly, half the news stories I have for you tonight are just bullshit. And we'll get into a bunch of different ones. And quite frankly, I'm going to be a bitch tonight. I'm going to complain a little bit, and hopefully I'll do it in a way that's both humorous and a little bit entertaining for y'all. I mean, I'm definitely not trying to just be a complainer. So first things first, I want to throw a shout out. I don't usually cover YouTube lawyer stuff, even though that's my corner of the internet. Like, I follow all these lawyers on YouTube, and big shout out to Joe Neerman of Good Logic. Nick Ricada and Joe Neerman and Andrew Branca and all these people have been kind of participating in a panel following this trial of Alex Murdaugh in South Carolina. In what was originally supposed to be a 3-week trial, we're now on week 4 of just the state's case. And it's looking like there might be a week 5. And quite frankly, I was like, okay, why do I care about this murder trial in some corner of the country where, from some, local lawyer, his wife and kids dead, why do I care about this trial? And it's taken this long to grip me. I've been listening to it just because, I like to have something going on in my ear while I'm working. And so I've been listening to it just to kind of have something to drown out the monotony of my day. And this is one of the most fascinating court cases I have ever seen, mostly because this judge is so permissive on behalf of the prosecution and the state. It has been 4 weeks of the state's case, and I have yet to see any real evidence that this man killed his wife and son. And finally today we see this culmination where they have this agent on the stand, and finally we get some cross-examination. Just some amazing. And so I want to give a shout out right now. Right now. Don't go. But definitely after I get done streaming, go over to Uncivil Law. He's doing a breakdown of this cross-examination that happened today of this I'm assuming state law enforcement, they call it SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, of this head lead investigator for them about, the motive. What's up with the motive? So many things, and just completely shreds the entire case that has been built so far through this entire trial. And mind you, when I say the case they've built, it's like literally throwing a bunch of darts hoping one of them pops the balloon. Literally hoping that if we can get enough evidence that the guy's a piece of shit, which he is, then maybe enough jurors will hate him enough to convict him of murder. So, if you have time, just check it out. Check out this trial for just a couple minutes. Kind of, if you can, find some little clips of some of the more exciting parts. Definitely there has been a lot of mundane testimony from cell phone experts to vehicle experts to DNA, blah, blah, and it just drags on and on and on. But it's like, it's almost as if that's the state's goal. It's almost that's the prosecution's goal, is to drag this out further and further, hoping they can just dump more evidence in and then prolong the trial. And that has actually happened. That's actually worked in their favor several times now. It's like, well, Judge, we didn't think we'd be able to get this in, but now that it's in, can we have another week to present our case on this? And it's not even a freaking murder trial, really. It's literally they're picking apart every negative aspect of the guy's life. And just this week, it's like he hired a hitman to kill himself, and now at the end of the day today, they've got that entered into evidence, and now they're going to explore this whole other theory of the case. And that's after they've spent the last 2 weeks with all these financial crimes and all these people he ripped off. And at some point, it's like, are we going to see evidence of a murder anywhere among any of this evidence? Are we going to see a motive for murder anywhere in any of this evidence? And it's like, if you're not a fan of court cases and trial and true crime, I want to apologize for going on and on and on about this, but it's like this guy is on trial for his life for murdering his own family. And it's like, the best evidence they can come up with is, well, you own some guns that kind of could have done it, and you were near the place for a few minutes, and you ripped people off, so maybe you thought if you could prolong having to pay those people back by getting sympathy for having dead relatives, you might have had some motive to kill your wife. It's the most mind-numbing thing I have ever heard. So, again, my apologies if you're not true crime people. I had to get that off my chest, that this case is quite interesting. And like I said, tonight, Uncivil Law is going to be doing a breakdown of this brilliant cross-examination of this lead investigator. So yeah, after you're done watching me, go check out Uncivil Law. He's kind of awesome. Well, you know, he can be awesome at these kind of things. He's not one of my favorites on the internet, but hey, to each their own. He's semi decent, and I really like the way he breaks down stuff like this, and the way he breaks down Supreme Court rulings. Okay, so that's the Murdaugh murders in a nutshell. Definitely. If you could find a summary elsewhere on the internet, check it out. Check it out, because it's quite infuriating. I can't say that word apparently. It makes me pissed off how permissive this judge is, and how deferential he has been to the prosecution, and how this case should have been wrapped up weeks ago, and yet we're still going, because apparently everything is evidence of a murder. Everything you've ever done. Like, there was some part where he may have cheated on his wife 15 years ago, and now that's somehow evidence he killed her. It's crazy. It is literally one of the craziest court cases I've ever heard of. Anyway, so tonight, we have some interesting topics to discuss. First off, I want to give a shout out to the Wall Street Journal. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Properties. Hey, there it is. Okay. Now I can't. Again, the whole article is behind a paywall, but I can kind of give you a little bit of a rundown of what they're. To save money, maybe you should skip breakfast, by Gabriel T. Rubin of the Wall Street Journal. In fact, what the hell? Let me go ahead and put that WSJ so nobody thinks I'm lying here. So essentially, there has been a report that the inflation numbers aren't looking so good. And Wall Street Journal's idea of what to do about that is that you should skip the most important meal of the day. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you're broke, it's because you're eating too much bacon, sausage, and eggs. Is this their idea of a joke for combating high egg prices? For combating this egg shortage? And why do we have such an egg shortage in the United States? Is it because maybe, and this is going to be a recurring theme tonight, looking back to the last 2 years of all of these fires and explosions and massive die-offs at these food production plants. Could that have something to do with the fact that we have an egg shortage now? The world may never know. So that was our lead story tonight. We have, really shitty inflation numbers. And yeah, the Wall Street Journal just says, hey, you should skip breakfast. So the last couple of weeks, I did a show, was it a week and a half ago, on the big Chinese balloon and what the hell could it be doing. And, a lot of people are saying, okay, the balloon's a distraction. And since then, there have been reports of unidentified flying objects over areas of the United States and Poland. Look, do I think aliens are out there? Potentially. Do I think this is how they would visit Earth? No. No, this is clearly some international spy games bullshit, and perhaps even some Project Bluebeam bullshit to keep us distracted from things like inflation, to keep us distracted from things like, I don't know, food production plants, from egg shortages, food shortages, to keep us distracted from things like what's currently going on in East Palestine, Ohio, and Tucson, Arizona, where there are clouds of toxic chemicals. Now, again, the Tucson, Arizona one was a smaller spill. Let me see if I can... I forgot to bring it up. But it's something we're going to bring up here in a few minutes. I'm going to bring up what's going on with Tucson. Truck leaking nitric acid in Tucson, Arizona. That was 24 hours ago. And they had evacuation. Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make is, do I think there are UFO? Do I think Earth is in combat with an alien nation? No. By the way, shout out to this Justin in the chat. Higher interest rates isn't slowing down the economy enough for the Fed, so they need to slow it down some other way. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, right? You raise interest rates and hoping that it will combat inflation, but we have been printing money so fucking fast that it won't slow down. So essentially, you need to kill your markets. I mean, having nowhere to spend money, it forces savings. And then savings puts the money back in the banks and problem solved. No. That's why people need to invest in food and gold and all these other things. Again, not financial advice, not investment advice. I'm not your banker. I'm not your retirement account planner. But anyway, I was looking for more information on the UFOs, and there are several. There are several videos. This one seemed to be one of the most important ones I found. And again, this is what I could find in the 45 minutes I had to do show prep. So forgive me for not being better prepared for my show tonight. But like I said, it's been kind of a crazy day in the Midwest here. All right. So let's bring this over and see what this...
Very much for your patience while we were delayed a little bit. I have a few things to talk about up top, and then we'll get right to your questions. So first of all, to add to information already provided earlier by the White House, at the direction of the President of the United States, fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command successfully took down a high-altitude airborne object off the northern coast of Alaska at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today within U.S. sovereign airspace over U.S. territorial water. On February 9, North American Aerospace Defense Command detected an object on ground radar and further investigated and identified the object using fighter aircraft. The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. U.S. Northern Command is beginning recovery operations now. U.S. Northern Command's Alaska Command coordinated the operation with assistance from the Alaska Air National Guard, Federal Aviation Administration, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin. The object was about the size of a small car, so not similar
small car
in size or shape to the high altitude surveillance balloon that was taken down off the coast of South Carolina on February 4.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so so I want to bring up some other footage and clips. Again, I can't verify, because this is Twitter. I can't verify the veracity of some of these. I did see some of them were check marks from news organizations. So let's. Okay. All right, you see that? Apparently, this is one of the objects being hauled away. And let me bring this back out and let me read the caption here. Out of Alaska, I'm assuming. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I trust this news agency, but yeah, this appears to be allegedly via, random Twitter accounts. This is the object being transported after being shot down in Alaska. And there we go. Let's stop on that. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't look like the cylindrical thing we saw in the other video. And you haven't seen, I haven't showed you the other video yet. Yeah, there are videos and photographs that I'm going to try to bring up here. Let me go ahead and minimize that, and we'll save that in another window. Sorry. Doing a little, anyway, so where did it go? All the memes are great. Memes of Sam Smith. I think that was his name, right? The guy from the okay. Now, again, a user named Meg Updates shares these photographs. See, this is more cylindrical. And you can see if I can. Nope, it won't let me. And then here's the radar of it. This is a user named Meg Updates, MEGH Updates, on Twitter. There's long been in the paranormal, investigation type community, there's long been a lot of people talking about cigar shape. Oh, sorry, that was loud. My apologies. Let me bring the volume down. There we go. Let me go ahead and bring this over. All right, check out this video. This is allegedly what happened in Poland to an aircraft. I don't know if I buy all of this. Some of this is just Twitter being Twitter, but, what do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Let me know down in the comments. By the way, there's a light pole in the middle. But it's like this passenger jet, this commercial passenger jet is flying along and all of a sudden hits some resistance and flies backwards and, yeah, just kind of explodes. Yeah. Again, we don't see the UFO in frame, but the claim being made is, that it was a disaster. Okay, so now here we go. This is UFO number 3 in the United States being shot down. So this is what happens after it gets hit by a missile.
What?
Ma, you see this?
No. Holy shit! What
is-
the hell is that?
What is happening? You guys see this?
Okay, somebody put a commentary track over it. I'm sure the commentary track's not real, but this looks like something out of Disney to me. This looks straight Project Bluebeam, something fucking right out of Disney, something out of a Jerry Bruckheimer movie. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, look, I'm not trying to cover a bunch of UFO shit. I think a lot of this is bullshit. Okay, well, we've watched that about 3 times now. Let me back out of it. And there was one more US. Sorry for the click, click, click. My mouse wheel's very loud. And I lost it. Where did it go? Where did it go? I had another video that was similar, very similar to the last one I showed you. The memes, man. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we have fighter jet, shoots a missile, goes up in the air, hits this other thing, and more of this little Magic Kingdom fucking glittery shit. I don't know what to believe. What do you all think? What do y'all think? Do you believe in magic? Because quite frankly, I think this is a distraction from all the bullshit. You know, allegedly the Epstein list is supposed to be being released at some point this week. Do we have an Epstein list on the way? And then, while our mainstream news organizations are talking about UFOs and all of this other bullshit, we have... well, let me go ahead and cover one more little thing about this. Now this other video says that transport of a UFO was in Poland. So again, we have conflicting reports on that. But yeah, let me show you one more. This is apparently one of these things being shot down in Poland. Okay. Let's go ahead and... And this appears to be spreading as a mist or something. I can't... Was this an anti-aircraft missile? Did they hit it from a plane? It just kind of spreads like a cone. This is clearly, to me, Jerry Bruckheimer, Project Bluebeam, Disney magic, right? This doesn't look real. But, you know, our news agencies here in the United States have been covering this kind of shit. And you know what they haven't been covering? They haven't really been covering East Palestine, Ohio. And as I mentioned earlier, it's almost insane. My apologies for all the walking noise happening above me. Okay, this is from Congressman Troy Niels. East Palestine, Ohio should be on the front page of every newspaper in America. And then you see this photo. I'll go ahead and move it over a little bit. This photo of this very large black cloud just rumbling off from the horizon up into the sky and then spreading throughout the atmosphere. And you kind of got to wonder. Now, I'm going to do a little rant about this because, quite frankly, the EPA said that they've been testing and blah, 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 allegedly. Just like the EPA went in after 9/11 and told heroes that were digging through debris to save lives that the air was safe to breathe, that Ground Zero was a safe place. And then, of course, we now know that years after, people started having random illnesses and cancers related to something. Because people were, people who had been down at Ground Zero were contracting mysterious illnesses. So when you believe government when they tell you the air is safe, you do so at your own peril. And I'm going to now play a clip from Glenn Beck. No. Oop. Well then. Okay, let's try this. Let's do this without sharing everything I'm looking at to the chat at once. Here we go. Resize the window. All right, here's Glenn Beck. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip.
Agency is like, yeah, don't worry. I don't believe them. Can I ask you that? Do you believe them, Kaylin?
So I can't comment on that, but what I can comment on is that we were told by Norfolk personnel that the agencies that were coming to our home.
Norfolk, meaning the railroad. This originally started as a train derailment in Ohio, by the way, if that wasn't clear.
Homes to test were from independent laboratories. Now, what I can tell you firsthand is that we had a gentleman from CTEC, which is the so-called independent laboratory. He was sitting in our driveway from the night of the derailment, and we had spoken to him, just very informally, and he said that, and I quote, "We follow around the railroad when they make mistakes, and they are happy to have us here." And when, CTEC came to our facility to test our air, they had not offered the services of water at that point in time. They handed me a contract that essentially said that I needed to hold Norfolk, their affiliates, not limited to, but including CTEC, harmless of any future.
You didn't sign it.
In terms of, oh, of course not.
Yeah, good.
But unfortunately, 340 other residents did sign it. And that's where my heart just breaks for these people, because we don't know the long-term repercussions of what these chemicals can do in our air, to our environments, to our homes.
I mean, do we even know? I mean, again, I'm still digging into this story because this has kind of just crossed my feed over the last few days of football madness here in the middle of the country. And it's admittedly my own fault for being distracted by the football and the UFOs that I haven't dug deeper into this tragedy. But, my heart goes out to you if you're in Ohio, because they're going through some rough shit right now. And we'll get into that in just a minute, but we'll see what else this lady has to say here.
To our businesses, and they've signed their rights away in the hopes that they're getting help and the right answers from these organizations. And what I can tell you firsthand is that CTEC, the affiliate of Norfolk that came to test the air, was followed by the EPA. And what I can tell you is that we said, can the EPA by themselves come into our kennel? We do not sign this paper. And can they test themselves? Because they're a government organization that has the ability. They had the testing equipment with them. And the answer was absolutely not.
All right, so there you have it. People in Ohio are being asked to just sign off that there's nothing wrong with their air and water. And that, and here's down in the comments, Glenn Beck shared this contract. The legal and rightful owner of the property, landowner, hereby authorize Norfolk Southern, its affiliates, subsidiaries, parents, contractors, associated environmental professionals, and assisting local, state, and federal agencies, including but not limited to C-Tech LLC, and any of their personnel to access the property for air monitoring or environmental sampling, and then check inside and outside the home and structure. Landowner agrees to indemnify, release, and hold harmless. Unified command from and against any and all legal claims, including for personal injury or property damage arising from monitor team's performance of air monitoring or environmental sampling. Now, as I'm reading this, this doesn't release Norfolk Southern of injury from the derailment. This is from the whatever the hell the monitoring team is doing. Now, granted, I don't trust that a team of motherfuckers coming onto my property fucking with my water and soil. I don't trust them enough to just be like, yeah, just do it. You're harmless. Okay. Yeah, no. There's a reason you're wanting me to sign this. And I'm not going to do it. And kudos to her for not doing it. Again, I'm not reading into this that it makes, it releases any, it covers ass, so to speak, for the derailment. But yeah. One last thing on this East Palestine. You may have seen this for a brief second as I was skimming through things, but this is from Upward News. A fox keeper in East Palestine, Ohio, says several foxes he keeps on his property have become mortally ill. Norfolk Southern Corp can't get away with what they have done. Kieran is dead, and the rest of my foxes are suffering. And this is one of many. There have been chicken coops where we've seen several dead chickens in the wake of this. And so, again, what do? You got dead chickens, you can't produce eggs. And that takes us right back to what we talked about at the top of the hour with inflation and the egg shortage, the food shortages. When the soil's poisoned, when the water's poisoned, when the animals can't survive, the animals die. Then the humans can't survive, then the humans die. And it's to me a lot of planned scarcity, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you can't say tragedies like this are planned, but it's fucked up. So this idea that, tomorrow can be taken for granted. No, it can't. Let's see here. Let's see if I could find the pictures of the dead chickens here. Oh, there's a creek near East Palestine. The fish are dead. Okay, here, let's bring this over. So here's a video.
So I walked up to the cage, and this is what I found.
Amanda Brashears was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless, practically in the same position, with no signs of a predator entering their enclosure.
I'm beyond upset and quite panicked because they may be just chickens, but they're family.
Brashears says her chickens were alive and well yesterday. She believes the smell following the detonation of the train carrying chemicals that derailed in East Palestine is to blame for her birds' sudden death.
My video camera footage shows my chickens were perfectly fine before they started this burn. And as soon as they started the burn, my chickens slowed down and they died. If we can do this to chickens in one night, imagine what it's going to do to us in 20 years. So I walked up to the cage.
And that's the point. What is it going to do to the residents of Ohio? You know, what is it going to do? Having this black cloud above the sky, you know, and drinking the water that's killing fish and chickens and foxes. I certainly hope that someone is shipping a hell of a lot of bottled water, filtered water, something to Ohio right now. But, you know, old Buttigieg, whatever you call him. Yeah, he's all over it. He's all over it doing jack shit. You know, they're letting it burn as a, quote, controlled burn so that it doesn't explode all at once. And to minimize the geographical area in which the damage will take place. I mean, it's as close as you can get to an American Chernobyl. We're just going to let it burn and radiate. But yeah. Let's see, controlled burn. Let's type in controlled burn, see what comes up. Oh, look. Oh, okay. Looks like New York Times finally got on it 2 hours ago. Oh yeah, look at this. I mean, it's literally a cloud of death. Literally a cloud of death. And it's been going on for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Nobody seems to care. February 3rd. Southern freight train derailed. Okay, so there's that. All right, now we have the other giant cloud of death. Tucson, Arizona. Let's see. And are we not? It appears Twitter might be limiting the search results of this one. Quite interesting. Okay, so here we go. This was updated 7 minutes ago. Shelter in place lifted for hazmat incident on I-10. This is Tucson, Arizona. Roadway expected to reopen at 8 p.m. I'm assuming that's tonight. More than 24 hours after a truck carrying liquid nitric acid crashed in the median and began leaking, Arizona DPS confirmed the driver of the truck was killed. DPS said its investigation is ongoing how the crash happened, said the driver will not be identified until his or her family is notified. The nitric acid leak caused evacuations for anyone within a half-a-mile radius of the site. Meanwhile, as you could see here, what's this video?
We are following late-breaking news, a nitric acid spill, a crash involving hazardous materials, forcing a shelter in place.
You see all the vehicles driving through the cloud of death?
Slows down Interstate 10 in both directions between Kolb and Reeder Road.
Oh yeah, those people are going to live long, healthy fucking lives, right? Everyone who drove through this. Oh yeah, and look at the whole giant neighborhood in the red zone.
Ventilation, like heaters and air conditioners that pull in outside air. 13 News reporter Alex Valdez is live on the scene.
Yeah, don't breathe the outside air. Shelter in place and shut off anything that might bring in outside air. Just don't breathe.
We're just going to go ahead and give you a look at how that looks right now. These are images Tucson Fire Department shared from the scene. The crash is in the westbound lanes, but east on I-10 is also closed. The acid is sending up an orange cloud, and the wind is taking it towards home and businesses north and northeast of the crash site, which is where we are seeing the evacuation.
A shelter in place was also ordered, but Pima County OEM said it has been lifted as of 5 p.m.
It is highly corrosive, and the fumes can be hazardous to breathe. We're going to go ahead and keep an eye on this situation.
As of 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, there's no indication when the evacuation order would be lifted. I'm going to go ahead and pause this. The Vail School District, which has several schools near the crash site, says those facilities should reopen Thursday and buses would run normal. So, yeah. They also said there's no need to change HVAC filters or clean ductwork or wipe down indoor surfaces. No, that acid should be just fine in your air ducts. Prolonged exposure to low concentrations or short-term exposure to high concentrations may result in adverse health effects. They're not going to say what those health effects are. You'll have to Google those yourself. I mean, I guess I could, but quite frankly, I have one more topic I want to cover, and this is getting into ridiculous levels. So, do you trust these people? Do you trust our government to transport toxic we have transported worse throughout this country. I mean, if you understood how hard it is to get and keep a hazmat commercial driver's license, it's kind of crazy to think about, but these kinds of things can happen. They're not supposed to happen, but, when you have a transportation department like we have under Joe Biden, what do you expect? Now, the next thing I want to do is give a hot take. There has been a lot of drama coming from the right wing of our media, social media, political spectrum. And a lot of infighting. First, we had Steven Crowder and his Big Con fight against Big Con that turned out to be the Daily Wire. And the way contracts work in big conservative media circles. Actually, I take that back. Before Steven Crowder, there was Lauren Southern, who was taking on the misogyny and corruption within conservative media, calling out names like Milo Yiannopoulos and Paul Joseph Watson, and really it was just drama. I mean, quite frankly, if you want to approach a subject like that, I tried to watch her video, but eventually after like 15 minutes straight of just, and then he did this, and then so-and-so said that, and then, tell me the problem. You're literally just throwing out date, time, blah, blah, blah. And granted, you have to have that in your narrative. But quite frankly, I never really figured out. I never really figured out what her big fucking deal was. Because I quite literally couldn't make it through the end of those videos. She literally ranted for 2 hours. And I couldn't. I just couldn't. Because of the way she was just stringing stuff together. And at no point did she give a summary that I saw anyway. Maybe Maybe if there's a summary out there, somebody give me the abridged version. Because quite frankly, the version I saw was just scatterbrained. Anyway, so first you had Lauren Southern going after, quote, conservative media, Tommy Robinson, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Paul Joseph Watson in particular. And, sorry, didn't mean to breathe into the microphone there. And then you had this whole Crowder versus Daily Wire stuff. And somewhere in the middle of that, you can say that Jordan Peterson was going after internet anonymous, quote, trolls, which, you know, that's kind of like, if you're going to be a right-wing pundit on the internet, you do kind of need some shred of anonymity. So I'm going to say that that was some right-wing infighting, that Jordan Peterson was in the wrong there. And then you have the quartering versus Tim Pool. Now you have the Blaze being sued by Sydney Watson and dragging Elijah Schaefer and other people into it. And then you have the whole Kanye Trump thing. And now you have Trump versus DeSantis for this whole presidential nonsense. Republicans aren't unified. But that's just it. Republicans have never been unified. As I've ranted on this program before, Republicans don't know what to do. So their idea of being a grassroots is turning to libertarians and try to copy what libertarians are doing. And right now, a lot of that is, you know, a lot of what libertarians are doing online and what libertarians are standing up against is the whole gender indoctrination and race indoctrination of children. Republicans seem to have just picked up that ball and they want to run with it. In fact, I thought I saw, and I will definitely, between now and Saturday, my Saturday show, I will probably be covering some of these congressional hearings. I don't know if it's the U.S. Congress or if it's their state level, but I will be covering some of these hearings about these trans issues. It's quite funny. It's quite funny to see mainstream neocons flailing like this. But to see conservative media... Oh yeah, one other conservative infighting thing I didn't mention. Project Veritas booting James O'Keefe out the door. I definitely hope James O'Keefe comes back with another project of his own and basically blows his old company out of the water, because he has that name recognition. He has that power. He's the face of gonzo journalism in 2023. And I don't know what the talking heads, and again, this is probably going to come out in the coming weeks. There's some chitter chatter behind the scenes of what's been happening at Project Veritas, and there have been some press releases and some of the employees coming out and trying to get people excited for what they're going to come out with next. But quite frankly, James O'Keefe is the face of Project Veritas. You can't do it without him. You're not going to have the audience without him. So he is the face of gonzo journalism in 2023, and the idea of a conservative movement that does not have that. And granted, I don't always agree with everything James O'Keefe has done. I want to throw that out there. But you got to respect some of the stuff he's done as of late. Things I can't mention on YouTube. I mean, feel free to go find it. And, you know, it's hard with the Tim Pool, Eliza Blue stuff, with the whole beef with the quartering, and Brittany Venti, and all these people getting banned from Twitter for criticizing Eliza Blue, and Timcast putting out all these fluff pieces on Eliza Blue. Like, she's not that important. Like, I don't know why Tim Pool is still covering this woman. I don't know why Shane Cashman feels the need to continue to release these, which, by the way, the third one, you know, did get deleted off the internet. I think they pissed too many people off. So, you know, I just want to say, fuck the drama. Fuck the drama. You know, when Lauren Southern put out her video, like, it made me not want to listen to Lauren Southern. Like, I don't care if she was right. I don't care if the things she was saying about Tommy Robinson, and Milo Yiannopoulos, and Paul Joseph Watson, I don't give a shit if she was right. I don't follow Paul Joseph Watson for his take on women. I follow him because he quite frequently has a decent kind of take on current events. It's not that I believe he's some gospel Jesus Republican conservative whatever. And that's just it. I don't think any of us on any political spectrum side should be propping these people up. You know, you prop me up. Don't get me wrong. Feel free. Share my gospel. I'm just kidding. But conservative media figures are just that. They are supposed to be like a Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite came into your living room once a night, read you the news, and you turned it off and went on about your life. All of these conservative media figures and their infighting, like, we're not here for a fucking reality show. We're here, report the fucking news. Report the fucking news, tell the fucking truth, and when you get outed as a liar, go the fuck away. But as long as you're here reporting the news, report the fucking news. And we can handle that. Anyway. So you, the viewer, please make educated decisions. Don't follow people for drama. Follow people because they have a good perspective on what's going on in society and they cover topics that are important to humanity. We have one Earth. And as long as we get distracted by infighting bullshit and UFO balloons and bullshit, which, you know, again, I got distracted by some football, but, you know, in some way, some of that shit brings society together. Like some of the bullshit and the reality television, you know, it brings us together and gives us something common to care about and to talk about. So I don't hate on sports as much as I used to. I get distracted by it now too. But quite frankly, the infighting, the drama, people only care until they don't. And eventually, people want to stop hearing about it. That's just how it happens. Drama's good for a lot of fast clicks in a short amount of time. But eventually those clicks go away and people will go back to following the people that they want to follow for the real reasons they should follow people. Anyway, sorry for some of the background noise that happened. There's more activity in the house than usually is during my show. I want to thank anyone who showed up tonight. Thank you to the chat. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see me cover on the next show. And yeah, come back for the chat. This Saturday, 4 p.m. usually, Saturdays. Give me a like, a share. Please, yeah, click that thumbs up button if you can afford just a couple seconds and click that thumbs up button. It'll really help. I can't stress that enough. Also, sharing this off platform with someone who might give a shit. Their clicks help too. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications to be here for my live chat, for my future live streams. Down in the description of this video is my Rumble channel. Please give me a subscribe over there. If you've already subscribed here on YouTube and you have a... Wow, that sounds like something I might need to go take care of. Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, for showing up here to Miles Culture Plate. I will catch you next time. Take care of yourselves and one another. And don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. Hopefully, whoever's up there just did that, didn't get any on them. Peace.
Tribulation, torture, murder, genocide.